and I'm not sure that people quite understand this. CK had explained this to me yesterday, that typically the broadcast is live at the stadium, and it's, goes right to air so that people that are at the stadium, if you're getting concessions or whatever, you're walking around, you can hear Charlie and Dave as the action is occurring, but it doesn't sync up with TV. But because there are no fans at this point, the broadcast is going to be, they're going to delay it a few seconds, and it's going to be synced up exactly with television. So, you could turn it down and listen to your favorite radio guys. How cool is that?
We suggest that. Put the station on tonight whenever you're watching the game or any game throughout the season. We're gonna make it fun. I mean, the thing about having no fans in the stands is we miss that energy, but we're gonna have to bring our own energy, and we'll have some fun. It's a little different not being around the club.
Right.
We don't have the access to the players and the coaches and to Davey Martinez that we normally do, but we'll do the best we can. We've seen a lot of baseball, so we're going to have some fun on the air.
It's going to be weird. I know for me it's just jarring just seeing the empty seats. I mean, I used to mock this whole idea of having these what do they call these cakes? These
Fanless games?
No, just the signs or whatever, the pictures of people sitting in the stands.
Right.
But I'm now
the
pro
cardboard cutouts.
The cutouts.
Okay,
I'm now pro cardboard cutouts in the stands. Is there a chance they do something like that?
Well, I know a few teams are. I haven't heard that the Nationals have plans to do that. From the radio side, to me, it's the sound. I mean, because if you're listening to a game on the radio, there's a couple elements. I mean, you listen to the two announcers and you listen to the crowd because, when the ball is hit and you're listening to the game in your car, there's a certain noise that the crowd makes. When Juan Soto connects on a ball that the crowd thinks is going to be a home run, I mean, there's that crescendo of noise that's not going to be there, and that they're trying to simulate with the MLB The Show sound effects they're playing, but it's not quite the same, and it's going to be a little bit different listening experience. When you're calling the game, you don't really hear it, but I've watched some of the games on television with other teams, and you see a ground ball to the second baseman, and there's this huge, loud crescendo of noise. Well, that's not normally what the crowd reaction is going to be on a 32 hopper to the second baseman. So they're trying to work the kinks out with that, but I think it's better than having no noise at all. It's just going to be quite a bit of a different listening experience for the fans.
Right. How do you see, obviously we've been trying to think about this, in the last couple months here as we've seen this develop. The short season, the sprint, how do you see Davey managing these games? We assume he's going to be super aggressive, right? There's no time here to waste. If you've got a game that you can win, he's going to go at it hard.
Yeah, I think in general that's true, but I think at least for the first 2 weeks of the season, there's a fine line that you have to walk, because if you think about these players, and the Nationals do have an older team, a veteran team, you can't just put these guys at risk because they've not been playing baseball. I mean, your starting pitchers, Max was able to get out to 87 pitches his last time, but if he has some stressful innings tonight, they'll probably pull the plug a little earlier on Max. And the relief pitchers are really a concern because as you say, if you have a chance to win, well, you'd like to run Hudson and Doolittle and Harris, your top guys out there every day. But these guys haven't gone back-to-back games and haven't been pitching all that long. And I think you're seeing velocities down around the game in these exhibition games because they're just not ready. So you put these guys at risk if you ask them to do too much too soon. And because the season is so short, to me, the determining factor of who's going to win this is who stays the healthiest. Last year the Nationals were ravaged by injuries in the first 50 games of the season, but they had the last 110 games to overcome that and prove to be the team that they were. If you get a hamstring injury, that could be about half the season. If you get an oblique injury, that's over half the season. So whoever can keep their team the healthiest the first 2 weeks has a real good chance, hopefully, to get to the finish line in good shape.
And Jags, this is a Yankees squad that the Nats cannot afford to come out flat against. They were second in the league in homers last year, only one behind the Twins. So, I mean, this is a team that can knock it out of the ballpark if your pitchers aren't on their game.
Yeah, Scherzer he struggled a little bit with his command in the first 2 innings against the Phillies and gave up 2 home runs, but then the last 3 innings, he was Max. The thing about the Yankees, they're a high home run, but a high strikeout lineup. So, I mean, the Nationals' 3 pitchers in this series are 3 of the top strikeout pitchers in the league. So if they're making their pitches, I think they can have success The Yankees also have a dominant bullpen, but they're missing their closer. Aroldis Chapman had a positive COVID test. So every team is dealing with certain issues. I just, we'll miss that energy. I mean, can you imagine if the home opener was a full house with Nationals and Yankees, and the teams are introduced, and it's Cole and it's Scherzer? The energy in the ballpark would be just magical. So we'll try to replicate that, but we'll be missing that part of it with the stadium being empty tonight in what should be a real fun game.
Jags, we've talked a little bit today about the loss of Anthony Rendon and what to expect at third base from Carter Kieboom. We talked to Mike Rizzo about him yesterday. What have you seen from Carter Kieboom?
Well, I think the bat is the premier tool for Kieboom. I mean, he's looked a little better defensively here in these inter-squad games and the exhibition games than I think he did in March. That, to me, was always the concern. How is he going to handle third base defensively? Because as great a hitter as Rendon was, when the ball was hit to third base, there was no worry. It was going to be an out. He was going to make the play. Yeah, and so I think that's where Kieboom's playing time is going to be determined. I think they have the fallback option as Drupal Cabrera started 2 of the 3 exhibition games. So they may ease Kieboom into the season and not have him start 50 of the 60 games. I mean, maybe it's a 30-30 split between Cabrera and Kieboom, and whoever gets a hot hand, maybe that player plays more. So I think Kieboom's going to be a part of the mix, and they're going to hit him down in the order where there's not a lot of pressure on him, but I think Cabrera is going to get a good chance to play as well.
We were kind of kicking this around for a 60-game season. What do you think is a number that would excite you for home runs for Juan Soto? What does he have to get to? 15?
Well, 15 home runs would be a really exciting number. Now, 15 doesn't jump off the page,
right?
But if you project 15 over 162, then you're in line with right around a 40 home run season, which is a pretty good number. I mean, a ton of guys with the balls flying out of the park last year, a ton of guys hit 30, and Soto hit 34. So if he were to put a 15 pace on there, that'd be, projected. But what you'll see probably, I mean, guys don't just hit the same number of home runs in any month. You might see the league leader, if they get really hot, hit 20 home runs. And the other thing, you're starting the game in the warmer weather. The ball is going to carry a little better than it would in March and April. So, someone could lead the league with around 20. If you could get to 20, that would be an impressive total in the shortest season.
What are we going to see at the ballpark tonight? They're going to have a World Series banner, is that right?
Yeah, because where they have above the scoreboard, where they've had the 1924 and 1925 and 1933 pennant flags, they've always had the empty flag over the years, and that was the thought. Well, that's where the next one is going to go. So I think that's where it's going to go. I mean, they do have a couple of signs, one next to the division championship banners, and there's one big out in center field commemorating the championship. So that's going to be a part of it. Dr. Fauci's thrown out the first pitch. I guess Charlie and I can give him a standing ovation, replicating what would be there under normal circumstances. D.C. Washington's doing the national anthem. That doesn't get any better than that. So I don't know if they're announcing the team lineups like they would for an opening day or like they would for a World Series game. But, as soon as they get done with the festivities, 7:08, first pitch is flying for Max Scherzer's right hand.
Now, we asked Rizzo this yesterday, and he kind of distanced himself from knowing anything about it. But is hot cross buns replacing Baby Shark? What have you gathered?
No, I don't know yet. I mean, it's hard to replicate what Baby Shark did for this team. I mean, it's on the inside of our World Series ring. So
Right.
let's wait and see. I mean, something's got. I mean, it happens so organically. Let's let the season play out, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, let it play out. It can't be contrived. I mean, so far it looks like they're on to something. But is anybody playing hot? See, the whole thing with Baby Shark was that was the song that they played when he was at bat, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody's playing hot cross buns when they're at bat, right? Like what?
No,
that
doesn't make any sense. So hopefully they come up with something a little bit better.
But we've seen Soto and a couple of the players whip out like their faux flutes. Now, some of them are botching it and putting it in front of them instead of to the side, because if it's a flute, it's supposed to go to the side, right?
I think any of those guys have ever played a flute. They've had a baseball bat in their hand since they're 3 years old. They don't even know what a flute is.
Come on, EV. The crowd's going to go wild. The crowd of tens.
We're joined by Dave Jageler. the voice of the Nats here on 106.7 The Fan, along with Charlie Slows. By the way, how's that separation been? You're used to being with Charlie all the time, starting basically in late February, March when you guys head to spring training. How's the separation been between you and Charlie?
Well, it was nice to have a real family, you know. And
Right.
we always have the statement in baseball when you leave for the season. You say, "Well, now we can pick our own friends." So we're it's good to be back. I mean, I think our first two broadcasts, it was like we never left. It was comfortable. It was fun, and it was great to have the band back together.
Yeah, well, you're going to get used to working like I know you miss kind of being on the road and hanging with the guys a little bit and talking to them in the clubhouse. You're going to dig working from home instead of going on those road trips. I can assure you.
You know, I honestly, I love going to the other ballparks and the other cities. I really, it's going to be an adjustment. I like to play golf. I like to go to these cities and,
Right.
a
lot of golf courses here in the D.C. metro area. A lot of great ones.
I will be taking advantage of that. And hey, anyone want to see a World Series ring and get a tee time for me?
Right. I like that angle.
It's a great angle, Jack.
I like that, Jack.
I'm America's guest.
You are, yes.
Well, join the club.
All right,
That's
Jack.
hilarious.
Appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.